One of the most interesting truths about the Bible is that it deals with psychological states, with psychological spiritual wisdom that is taking place within us. And yet it is written in such a way that we can also take it literally and look at it from a purely physical point of view. And when we do that, we might be confused, but at the same time it would also explain a lot about the state of this world. So today I wanted to go over one of the proverbs from chapter 7 actually, that talks about an evil woman. Now the reason why I want to talk about this is because if this is taken literally, it would explain why women, historically speaking, have always been subject and sort of put below the man, physically speaking, below males, basically. Now we're living in a day and age where women have more opportunities and freedom within society at large, and people can say what they want about it. Some people still don't agree with it. In certain areas of the world it's still kind of frowned upon. But we in the West, well, it is just what it is by now. And I don't think we should look at this again from a literal physical perspective, but rather turn it around, open up the spiritual eyes and see what can we learn, what is it telling about ourselves. Because as shocking as it may be, even I as a man could say, there's a woman inside of me which is symbolic. And if I understand that and then read this chapter, then I might discover something interesting concerning my own spiritual powers and what I'm really called upon to do. Because I personally don't think there's any benefit in controlling a physical woman, like having a woman below me, etc., or being harsh on women around me that I come across randomly just because they're a woman makes no sense to me. If people talk, well, I should say if people act crazy and inappropriate, well then you could say something about it, of course. If they mistreat you, again, you don't have to stick with them, you can walk away from it and at least make it clear that you're not interested in that. And if it just so happens to be a woman, well then I agree, then you're free to say that, to point it out, but it's the same with men. So therefore we want to look at this psychologically. So what did this chapter say if we go over the verses? Well, I want to go and start with chapter 7 verse 4, which say unto wisdom, thou art my sister, and call understanding thy kinswoman, that they may keep thee from the strange woman, from the stranger which flattereth with her words. Now it goes on to say that that the author describes a young man that actually went out into the night and then came across a woman which was described as a harlot, and she basically seduced him to do stuff that are inappropriate, pretty much. Now if you take this literally, well then you will simply conclude, okay, they're talking about a promiscuous woman, a woman that is adulterous, that has affairs, that would cheat on her husband, because it even mentions in verse 19, for the good man is not at home. He is gone on a long journey. He hath taken a bag of money with him, and will come home at the day appointed. With her much fair speech she caused him to yield, with the flattering of her lips she forced him. Now it actually ends by saying that this kind of woman has caused down many wounded. Many strong men have been slain by her. And then it ends with saying, her house is the way to hell, going down to the chambers of death. Now, I kind of have to giggle to that to myself, because if you take this literally, right, you're essentially talking about the most grotesque woman you could probably ever meet in your life. But you see, if taken literally, it doesn't really help us become spiritually awake and aware. So I will reveal it to you, or at least my understanding of it. I will share it, and then you can consider whether you have use for it or not. Let us remember the symbolism of consciousness, that the conscious mind is male and the female is subconscious. So the conscious part of you, the male part of your consciousness, impregnates the female part of your consciousness, which is the subconscious mind, with ideas, with visions, with imaginative power. Then the subconscious part of you, the female aspect of you, is your emotional mind. It's that part of you through which you feel emotional states. So to me, what this chapter and verses are saying is not so much about a physical woman that misled a young man. It is actually his subconscious mind that has misled him. Now, how does this work? Well, your subconscious mind can actually be programmed to do everything that it should not be doing, to be in a state of perpetual negative moods, and to be perpetually tempting you to go away from your own wisdom. That is the woman that is misleading you inside of yourself. So how can we easily perceive this? Well, perhaps you have no experience with this, but it can easily be observed if you take the time. For example, when it comes down to addictions of any kind, a person wants to quit. Their conscious mind, their male aspect of their consciousness decides, I want to quit, I will stop. But the female aspect, his subconscious mind, is constantly tempting him with sweet words like, it's okay to use it just for once again. It's okay, you've been sober for so long, let's use it again. Then the idea of the good man is not at home is basically saying that your consciousness, your actual conscious awareness is not at home, is not aware of what's going on. So this female part of your mind can seduce you into bad activities, and therefore the final words make a lot of sense from this angle. That she hath cast down many wounded, many strong men have been slain by her. Change the words her into subconscious mind. Many strong men have been slain by their own subconscious minds. And then it says, as the final line in verse 27, her house is the way to hell, going down to the chambers of death. So you can say your subconscious mind is the house, a way towards hell. It leads down to the chambers of death. Now, what does death mean in this case? Because if you understand this, it can help you achieve things in life. Death in this case, from this angle, would mean that what you want to achieve is breaking down. Death is, what is death? If we look at it, it is a breaking down. It is it's a cessation of a certain activity. So therefore, if your subconscious mind is constantly betraying you, seducing you to do things that you should not be involved in, then you constantly are missing the mark in life. You cause your own business to die. You cause your own goals to die because they are unable to effectively grow in your world because you're constantly going all over the place. So what we can really see here is that it's talking about a power that is within you right now. I don't care if you're physically a man or a woman, especially if you're a woman. I don't want you to read these chapters or this verse and take it personal or to feel like it's condemning physical women, because this is a book of psychology. So it is revealing to you something about yourself that exists within you. Now it actually also explained in verse 11, she is loud and stubborn, her feet abide not in her house. Well, what is the house? The household is your own consciousness. So your feelings, if they're going all over the place, that is in complete contradiction with your dream, well, that's exactly what it's describing. That they're not abiding in a stability within yourself. Now she is without, now on the streets, and lieth in wait at every corner. You know, the subconscious mind is going all over the place. Then it said, she caught him and kissed him, and with an impudent face said unto him, I have peace offerings with me. This day I have paid my vows. Therefore came I forth to meet thee, diligently to seek thy face, and have found thee. I've decked my bed. It just goes on and on, through symbolical language to make it seductive in a way, because that's what your subconscious mind is doing, can't you? If you're honest with yourself, you can clearly tell that this is happening, but usually we're not looking at it from a spiritual, psychological point of view, so we sort of feel victims of our own consciousness, especially the subconscious mind, if it's tempting you to do something bad. And then you do it, and afterwards you beat yourself up over it, and you feel like, oh, I failed again, I gave in to temptation, I relapsed, whatever you want to call it, concerning the situation. But this is what happens. So the Bible, through Proverbs, is trying to remind you not to fall for any of this, to become wise in spirit, to understand the conscious and subconscious minds of you, how your own subconscious mind tries to seduce you. You see, we talk about loyalty in a woman being precious in human affairs, of course. It's also important for a man to be loyal to his wife if you want to have some, a stable marriage and relationship. But look at it again from the point of view that, is your subconscious mind loyal to your dreams, to what's important to you? Is it loyal to your progress? Is it loyal to your spiritual evolution and involvement in you discovering the truth about who you really are, what your connection is to God and the universe at large? Because you know something, for most people, their subconscious mind is not loyal to their dreams. You can analyze this by the simple fact that when you think of what you want to achieve, when you pray to receive something, what is your emotional state actually revealing about this prayer? Because if you're full of belief, conviction, faith, bliss, joy, all the love, especially love, if you have full of these positive emotional states while thinking and contemplating your dream, then your subconscious mind, the woman, is loyal. It's not tempting you and misleading you. But if the subconscious mind, the woman, the female aspect within you, is full of doubts, worries, and is seeking excuses and ways to kind of slack through your emotional states, you don't feel as motivated, and you start reasoning why you don't, and then you come up with all these reasons to justify why you should give in to something that you know is bad for you, that won't bring you closer to the realization of your dream. Well, that's that woman, that strange woman that is flattering you with words. In this case, the words are the ideas and thoughts that go on inside of you. So take it really carefully. Consider it very carefully for yourself. Let not thine heart decline to her ways, go not astray in her paths. That is what was said in verse 25 within chapter 7. Let not your heart decline to her ways, go not astray in her paths. So whatever the temptation is, whatever the rationalization is that comes from within, from the female aspect of your conscience, which is the subconscious, your emotional mind, whatever that rationalization becomes, do not follow it. Stay loyal, both consciously and subconsciously, to what you're praying for, to what is important to you, towards what you want to achieve, and learn to perceive what the things are that will lead you away from it, that will lead you astray, that go against what you want to realize. This is literally what it's revealing, at least to me. And I want you, and I actually hope mostly that you consider this for yourself as you go throughout your days from now on as well. When you notice this little voice in your head, this temptation, that's what it really is, to not obey your own dreams and prayer works in life. That is that woman trying to seduce you away from your dream. It's your own subconscious mind, for whatever reason. If it's not controlled and trained enough yet, out of pure habit, it can just lead you completely astray. You know, that's why I gave the example of addiction, because it's the most easy and obvious to actually consider. Even though perhaps you consider yourself, well, I'm not addicted to anything, that's fine. We are actually addicted to all kinds of things very subtly though. But maybe it's not as obvious like alcohol or drugs, etc. But still, even if you are not any of those things, you can still consider from observation what happens in those people. You hear it all the time. They want to quit, but something inside of them keeps tempting them to go back to relapse. Well, that is that woman that the Proverbs is talking about. It's their own subconscious mind not working together with the male aspect, which is their consciousness. You see, the female and male have to become one flesh. They have to start operating in unity, and that was also said in Genesis at the very start of the Bible. To cleave to thy woman, etc. All these sayings are talking about a unity between the conscious and subconscious mind. Once this occurs, then you will no longer be led towards the chambers of death, which means that your business, everything that you held dear, is getting ruined by you not living in the right way. So it's dying, it's disintegrating, it's slowly, well, losing its power and strength and stability within your world. So therefore it makes a lot of sense to me that it's true that she had caused down many wounded, many strong men have been slain by her. You see, it doesn't matter how strong you are physically speaking, if your subconscious mind is seducing you to go astray, then no matter how strong you are physically speaking, you will be ruined in that process. You will miss the mark. You will fail to realize your prayer works. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. Hopefully it gave you something to think about, and you can always leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Now, if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing to receive inspirational videos on a regular basis. And with that being said, dear viewer, never forget that we are the dreamers.